We talked about A House of Dynamite with Tracy Letts a couple of weeks ago. That's still available for streaming now on Netflix. But let's talk also about Reawakening, which is available now on Apple and Prime Video and stars, just like A House of Dynamite, Jared Harris back on the program. Good to see you, man. How
Thank
are
you. Thank
As
you.
I told you back in the green room, we love repeat customers.
I'm very grateful to you to help us get the word out for Reawakening. It's a, independent movies is a tough, it's a tough thing at the moment because you're competing with people like Netflix and stuff like that. So
for sure, available now on Apple and Prime Video as well. You play a dad whose daughter runs away from home and then reappears 10 years later. The things I love about movies like this one, Jared, because we also just had Vince Gilligan, speaking of Apple, talking about Pluribus. We had him in last week, and it's just writing stuff or performing in things where what would you do? How would you react?
Yeah.
Right? Because again, the clip we just saw of the father welcoming in a way, the 14-year-old daughter who runs away and reappears as a 24-year-old coming back. You sound angry. You sound aggrieved and angry. Like, so how really, like, how would you handle it? Right? I mean,
I think part of what's going on is that there's a sort of the two of them are kind of teaming up, and he doesn't really understand why his wife doesn't have the same questions as he does, because he wants to know is it really her. I mean, he wants to believe it's her, but at the same time, there's some red flags that are going off in his mind. So, and if it's not her, well, that's a pretty terrible thing to do to somebody.
Correct.
Is to show up and pretend to be the person that they've been waiting 10 years to come back.
And that person deserves the scorn and the questioning.
If that is her,
the withering
exactly.
questioning.
Yeah. So, I mean, and then the brilliant thing about it at the end of the day is the thriller element of is it her or isn't it her is the sort of the carrot, if you like. But ultimately, it's a sort of investigation of the kind of difference in the male and female psyche. And there's an opportunity for happiness, which the mother embraces. Mm-hmm. But very much in keeping with that male mind, he wants to know the facts. He needs to know the details before he can settle his mind to this. He needs to know the facts so he can get at the truth. But the truth might not make you happy. The illusion might be make you happier.
Again, it's called Reawakening, available now on Apple and Prime Video. And it's interesting that you mentioned Netflix before, because you're on that too.
Yeah.
And again, we just talked about it with Tracy Letts last week. A House of Dynamite is riveting, frightening, and all in one. And you play a Secretary of Defense whose day begins on a golf course. Yeah. And it ends in a way that I don't think I want to reveal.
Yeah.
Because, spoiler alert. So what intrigued you about that project? When
Catherine Bigelow. Catherine Bigelow's making a movie again, and they said that she's interested in you for a role, and I was like, well, I'm on board already. Then I chatted to her. I think she wanted to make sure I wasn't a lunatic. And then,
what do you mean by that?
Well, they want to make sure that you're creating an environment, a working environment, and you want to make sure that you're bringing people in who have got the same mindset as you, if you like, about creating that work environment. And then she sent me the script, and I mean, that was a page turner. So yeah.
So when you're shooting, I didn't ask this as Tracy Letts, so I'm going to correct that error here. When you're shooting it, first time we see you is in a Zoom square.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're Secretary of Defense on a conversation that's happening, with people who are spread out all across the globe. And then we wind up seeing how your day begins, because that's the beauty of this movie, is it's about an 18, 20-minute period that just keeps being re-racked backwards.
And you're working your way up the chain of command with each different section.
I didn't even recognize that.
Yeah.
You're right. Okay.
You're getting closer and closer to the people who have to make this call. And, the other people are gathering the information and they're passing it up to the next level. And they have recommendations. But by the time you get to that third section with the Secretary of Defense and then the president's ultimately the one who's got to make the call. But the person who could advise him is the Secretary of Defense. And he asked for his opinion, but he's so distracted about what may or may not happen to his daughter that he's taken his eye off that ball, and he's now focused on that. He's trying to figure out if he can save his daughter.
Because she's living in the city of Chicago where this missile is heading after an attempt to shoot it down fails. And your character has, in my mind, the line of the movie that scared me the most, which is, for how much? What, $50 billion? It's a freaking coin flip.
Yeah.
Whether we're going to be able to shoot this thing down. That's true, right? Like that is in fact.
Well, I mean, the thing
true.
is, I know that there's been pushback about it, and I'm not an expert, but I think that if there's a discrepancy about it, it's real world results as opposed to the results that happen from when you're doing scenarios.
Right.
But also the other thing is that deterrent, that defense is only useful against ICBMs. They're not going to help you with submarine launched missiles. I mean, you have an even shorter amount of time from a submarine launched missile.
I was just beginning to get back to sleep, Jared. Damn. But so when you were shooting this film, though, did you have to redo the scenes over and over again, or you did them once knowing that you're on a Zoom, but you're being shot on camera at the same time?
We started in Stratcom.
Right.
And so I was in a little small area on the studio with a wall behind me, going through all my bits that I was interacting with Stratcom.
Right.
Not having done the other bits yet.
Okay.
So then at that point you're trying to figure out, okay, where would I be at this point? Because am I still engaged in what's happening here? Or I'm starting to get focused on, find out where she is and get the helicopter to her and everything.
Right.
Because at some point I start to drift off. And I don't know if you know, it would be real inside baseball if you notice this, but at a certain point you no longer see him.
Yeah, you were off camera.
Because I've now split my focus and I'm actually, I'm no longer engaged in that, what's happening at Stratcom.
I was just fascinated by all of it. And so you didn't really interact with, were you interacting with your co-stars? Say it again?
I met them at lunchtime.
That's what I was about to say, right?
Yeah, because we're all in different parts of the studio. And then they had the real guys there who actually spent their careers in Stratcom. There's 2 military advisors.
Yeah, Tracy Letts said they were background actors.
Yeah, they appear in the movie. But any chance I got at lunchtime, I'd sit with them and chat to them and ask them about.
So what scared you most, Chernobyl or this House of Dynamite? Learning about what happened in characters and what could happen again. Like what left you losing sleep the most, Jared Harris?
Well, I remember I lived through Chernobyl. I remember that cloud heading towards London, and so I remember that. I remember living through that, and I also remember living through when Reagan was saber rattling and threatening the Soviet Union. Having sleepless nights thinking if you were going to wake up and see the missile streaking in the air. So they both sort of triggered trauma in my mind when I was younger. I think on an existential level, I think this one. I mean, Chernobyl was it was localized. It had the ability to cause massive problems all over Western Europe, but yeah, this is a sort of end of the world scenario, isn't it?
Oh my goodness! And again, I made the mistake of watching it just about ready to go to sleep too.
Lovely. I had the same thing. I didn't sleep for 5 days after I saw the movie, and I knew what was going to happen as well.
You were in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jared Harris here on the Rich Eisen Show. All right, last time you were here was in support of Chernobyl, and you talked about. Are you still a Man U fan?
Oh, I am. Okay. Yeah. It's been a very, very painful decade, but go on.
No, I'm just.
We had such a good time. You can't begrudge the whippings and the scourges that one has to take now during the last 12 years.
Well, I'm bringing it up also because I just attended my first ever Premier League match game.
Between
Arsenal and Fulham, and I saw it at Fulham.
Fun! A lovely ground.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
it's. It was smaller than what I would expect, right? It's one of the smallest venues.
The developers have been trying to buy that for a long time. It's right on the river. It's a beautiful, beautiful ground.
I took the tube, and then I walked.
Yeah.
And I walked with thousands of people.
Yeah.
Thousands upon thousands of people. The entrance I walked in and nearly hit my head. Because it's a small
little turnstiles, right?
A small little, I guess brick entranceway.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And I loved the, I even mentioned on the NFL game that I was there to call the next day, what an incredible scene it was, watching all the Arsenal fans just in one section.
Yes.
Chanting nonstop.
Yeah, the cheering and the atmosphere, the singing, yeah.
Right, and I said that I couldn't mention on the broadcast what they were cheering. My colleague Kurt Warner said, what were they cheering? And I said it rhymed with banker.
Yeah, and those are the polite ones. Yeah.
But it was awesome. I wish I could have attended more, while I was there.
Arsenal a good side. They're playing well.
Aren't they going to win it?
Well, it's still a long way to go. But
what do you think?
I mean, again, I think the African Nations Cup comes on, and West Point, there's a lot of teams lose some very important players.
Right.
And then if you're in as many competitions as Arsenal are still in,
right,
the players just can't play that many games without picking up injuries.
Right.
So then you have to. It depends who gets injured, when they get injured, how bad their injury is, what their recovery time is, if they can come back in time for the big chase. But they're in a good spot. I never hear the end of it because my elder brother's an Arsenal fan.
Oh boy!
So he just lets me know all the time.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Who did your dad root for? Was he into this?
He wasn't really into what you guys call soccer that much. He was a big rugby fan. I think he was Manchester United, but that's because for a brief he'd met Georgie Best and was friends with Georgie Best briefly, and of course Georgie Best was a famous Irish player.
Sure.
So, but he wasn't really big into football.
He wasn't a sporting guy, your dad?
He was a big sporting guy. He used to bet on the NFL teams.
Richard Harris used to bet on NFL football games.
For about 7 or 8 years, before the season started, he would go into a bookies in England and he would pick who was going to win the Super Bowl, and he was right about 6 or 7 times out of 10.
Here.
Yeah. He would win a lot. I mean, I was sitting there going, Dad, can you give me the tip? I can make a bit of money.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Who was the most famous person you met through your father?
Wow. Frank Sinatra.
Okay. All right. What do you got? What do you got for me here?
Well, so because Dad knew Frank and Sammy Davis Jr. and all that crowd. And Sinatra used to do these New Year's Eve concerts in Miami, and we lived in the Bahamas. So we'd fly up to Miami, stay in a hotel for a couple of days, and go to the concerts.
Was that the Fontainebleau Hotel?
Yeah.
Okay. The famous pictures of him strolling around, with all the sunbathing people, and he's dressed like he's straight out of Goodfellas.
Yeah. I mean, he was a bit older at that point, but and we would meet him before the concert and chat to him. He was really lovely, very, very generous and personable. And then he would call Dad out during the concert. And I remember one of them was, because it was the only 2 times I'd see my father Star Trek. One was then, and the other time was on the phone with Marlon Brando. But so Frank Sinatra would call out people who were in the audience. He said, we've got this great actor here, one of the greatest actors in the world, Richard Harris. You see him in this and that. Stand up, Richard. And Dad got up and he was all shy, and he said some more lovely things about him. And then he says, okay. And as he sat down, he goes, oh, he also sings. He goes, I don't know if you've heard him sing. If you have, I don't know if you can call it singing.
Good one, Frank. I'm sure everyone was laughing about that one. And then he was on the phone with Marlon Brando, and he got all
Well, so he and Marlon fell out over on... I don't know if you've got time for this.
Please.
They fell out on Mutiny on the Bounty. Because Marlon... He'd agreed to sign up to do the movie, but he wanted to focus on what happens when they get to Pitcairn Island and they have the chance to create utopia and they mess it up. And he was interested in that idea. And they went, yeah, but we have to get there first. So, we need to do the mutiny. We need to do the sea voyage. We get there. But yeah, that's a great idea. We're going to do that.
Right.
And as the rewrites came in, that part drifted further and further and further away. And he realized he'd been conned into doing the movie. So he was pissed. So he started fighting with Carol Reed, who was the original director of the movie. And at a certain point, they're sort of 5 months into the shoot, and it's over budget and everything, and their relationship had broken down. And they let Carol Reed go, and they had to get a new director, so they sent everybody home.
Yeah.
And this is a different story here. Hang on, there's 2 stories here. So they sent everybody home, and they said, listen, we're going to reconvene after the holidays. And Dad said, I'm not going back. I've had enough. And he went, well, you have to come back. He says, but I'm not. He goes, well, we'll give you more money. He goes, I'm not interested in money. I don't want any more money. I'm not coming back. They said, well, what do you want? I want my name above the title. Oh. And he went, you can't. It's Marlon Brando and Trevor Howard. He says, yes, but when it's Marlon Brando, Trevor Howard, and Richard Harris, then I'll come back. But otherwise, I'm not coming back. You guys can go to hell. So they agreed. They put his name above the title. And slight red herring, when the movie comes out, the premiere, Robert Mitchum goes to the premiere here in Los Angeles and calls Dad up and goes, God, everyone's talking about you. I mean, it's Marlon Brando, Trevor Howard, but everyone's talking about you. He goes, really? What are they saying? They're going, who the fuck's Richard Harris? That's amazing. But Marlon wouldn't show up for his off-camera work.
Yeah.
So Dad said, his last day of filming is the scene where Marlon's dying, and he dug a hole in the ground. They put ice in there, and then they covered it. So when he's lying, he's shivering, and Marlon wouldn't show up for his off-camera lines. So Dad did his bit, and he drew Marlon's face on a apple box and said, I'll act with that. I don't need him. And so Dad was finished, wrapped, was going to come home.
Yeah.
I'd been born and he hadn't seen me. I was about 7 months old. He'd never seen me. And Marlon demanded that he come back and do his off-camera lines. So he gave him the apple ball and he said, use this. I got more out of this than I did out of you. And he took off. So they never spoke for a long, 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 long time. They happened to be in the same hotel in London. Mm-hmm. And so Dad called up Marlon and said, listen, let's bury the hatchet. So Marlon comes down to Dad's suite. And Marlon, apparently said he was always looking for the little needle, Mm-hmm. So he's sitting chatting to Dad and he goes, what's that great Irish song? It's so beautiful. It's about the boy. And Dad goes, Danny Boy. He goes, that's the one. I love that song. Sing it for me, right? And Dad goes, Marlon Brando is going to make me sing him a song, right? So he thinks, what's the one thing that Marlon will hate more than I'm going to hate singing for him, right? And he goes, I'll sing you Danny Boy for you if you'll talk to me about acting for 1 hour, right? And Marlon says, okay. So Dad sings the song for him. And Marlon tries to change the subject. He says, no, now you have to talk about acting for 1 hour. So he goes, oh. He looks at his watch. He goes, all right, ask me a question, but okay, I'll talk to you for an hour. Because that's the worst subject in the world that you could talk to Marlon Brando about. He'd be least interested in. They finish talking. He goes upstairs. I arrive, and he goes, you've just missed Marlon Brando. At that point, I was beginning my career, so I would love to have met him. So he calls up Marlon to try and see if he'll come down and come say hello. But he wasn't having it. But he was bouncing on the phone like a guy trying to get a date with a girl, You
didn't want to sing one more song for you?
Exactly.
Oh, my God. Wow. That is an amazing... Those are two great stories. Thank you for sharing them. Before I let you go, I also did not know this about you, Jared Harris. Are you a Duke Blue Devil?
Well, I went to Duke.
Okay.
Yeah.
That you're not...
I only went to one basketball game.
Because you were there when Coach K took the blue... I looked it up. You graduated. Look at you, by the way, right there.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
The dog right there.
Yeah, that's Jeff Bennett. We made a movie together while we were at Duke. He was a proper genius. He taught himself cinematography. He built a dolly system.
No kidding.
Yeah.
You Duke guys are smart. But I looked it up. You graduated the year that Coach K made his first ever NCAA tournament as coach at Duke.
No, it was a big deal. You had to camp out overnight to get into Cameron, which I wasn't prepared to do.
You never had to. That was the follow-up question. You were not one of the Cameron crazies?
I went once. And I was walking past Cameron. I knew the game was on, and there was no line. So I thought, I'll pop in. So I popped in, grabbed a seat. Place is going crazy.
Yeah.
Right? And I used to go to all the football games. So I knew there were 4 quarters in American sports.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's coming to the end of the second period. And they're fighting like mad. They're calling times out and everything. And with sort of 1.5 seconds to go, they get the ball. They get, one of those plays. And boom, he gets the 3-pointer. And they're 1 point ahead, and the whole crowd erupts and floods down onto the floor. And I go, this is a bit premature, isn't it? It's only half time, right? So I was there, and I still missed it.
You were there. I looked it up. Awesome. Johnny Dawkins, Tommy Amaker, our buddy Jay Billis. You were there for pretty big. Yeah. You only went to one game.
Only one. But I do remember the last.
There he is.
The last game of my senior year. The final was between. Was it Chapel Hill and UNC?
Oh yeah, Dean Smith
with
Dean Smith and
Michael Jordan and Clyde the Glide Drexler.
So you never went to see Jordan play the Duke, huh?
No.
Okay. But you were there.
Yeah, I was there. Was I?
Yes. I love it. Awesome. Thanks for coming back, man.
Bless you.
House of Dynamite. Everybody see it on Netflix. And then see Reawakening first. Why not? It is something that is available on Apple and Prime Video. Available right now. Jared Harris in both. Always great to see you.
Bless you, man. Thank you so much.
Right back at you. Thanks for coming here. At Jared Harris on Instagram as well to follow this man. So right here on The Rich Eisen Show.
Thank you.
Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app 12 to 3 Eastern.